Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Haz and Hadi, where everyday people get to tell their story.
That's right.
And today we have a special guest for part 2. Luis, he's got some exciting things. You're going to really love this.
I can't wait.
I mean, I was there with him in the Philippines. That's just a little thing that I'm going to tell you about, but we'll get to it. Don't worry. So welcome back, Luis.
Yay!
Thanks, man. Thanks.
All right, Luis, my guy.
So, Luis, I know everybody knows you. You're like famous anyway. But so I just want to start off because everyone was very interested in your love life and your experiences. How's the last few months been going for you in this dating game, as we say?
Well, now it's good, but before it was treacherous. It wasn't.
What do you mean before?
Pleasant.
Like the last 6 months? What?
So last 6 months, yeah.
Okay.
Just to recount my experience. Yeah, the last 6 months they weren't that kind to me, honestly.
Look, I know you were on the apps and you were like, "This sucks" and whatever, and then
What apps was he using?
What apps were you using?
I was using Tinder. I was using Upward, which is a Christian dating site.
Oh, that's a new one. I heard of that one.
And then I was using Hinge. And the only thing that showed promise over there was Upward. So I was like, all right, let me go through the religious route. And
Nice.
you know, disclaimer, I'm not all that religious. But I met a couple women over there. But before I went on those apps or went haywire on those apps, I was dating a baby mama. And we vibed really well. It was really good. Unfortunately, she was very inattentive to me. And what I mean by that was she wasn't necessarily like a bad person. It was just more so like I was kind of like a placeholder for her, you know? So, every time I would ask her to hang out, she's like, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm this, I'm that."
Did the baby come in dealing with the baby a lot? She dealt with the baby a lot?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the baby was like 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I always told you this, I think, Luis. If it's a single mother, you're always gonna be like number 3, number 4, number 5. Like you're not gonna ever be primary. There. That's just something. That's just a reality.
Listen. I get that, but at the same time, it's just like you're always making an excuse for me not to hang out with you. And the times that we actually do hang out, she, it was like, "Oh, come sleep over." And it was just like an hour of conversation, and then, "Oh, okay, well, I gotta go to work. You gotta go to work too." Like,
So she'll have you come over just to talk for an hour and then go to work?
no, come over, talk for an hour, go to sleep, then go to work. Like, it wasn't. It was stupid. I was like, "Where are the date nights? Where are the outings together? Bring the child along too." Like, listen, I have no problem. A woman having a child. Like I used to have an aversion to that. I used to be like, baby mamas are not for me, XYZ. But then I started to have a little bit of an open mind. I was like, maybe I'm really like, alienating a population that could potentially show me something that single women without any children are showing me. So I gave that out a try. She was just lost in her own world. Again, nice person. But she wasn't in she didn't know how to handle a healthy relationship.
How long did that last?
That lasted a month and a half.
Okay.
That's like good for Luis.
Yeah. So the way everything transpired is like I'm a very expressive person, and I said to her, I was like, "Hey, listen, so and so, my needs aren't getting met over here. Like I feel like we're not spending enough time with each other. Like I feel like you're just living in your own world. Like all I'm asking from you is just like 1 or 2 days together, of your time."
Sure.
And she goes, "I don't know what you want from me. I work 3 jobs. I take care of a child." I was like, "Yeah, but you don't have to do it yourself." I was like, you don't have to exude this massive amount of independence. I told her, I was like, I can help you out I can help you out with those things if you want to. I was like, at the end of the day, relationships are all about being interdependent, not dependent or independent. You understand? You work together as a team.
Sure.
And she goes, "I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm trying to make enough time for you as much as I can, but it seems like it's not good enough." And she killed me with this one phrase. She goes, "It is what it is." And I'm like, speaking to her, I was like, "It is what it is." And that thing set me the fuck off. I was like, "No, it's not what it is." I was like,
It is what it is.
I was like, you have the potential to freaking really like, insert yourself into a situation, but you're being very passive about it. So I told her, I was like, all right, well, if you're down that road, it is what it is. I was like, it is what it is. I don't want to be with you anymore. And that's it. And she was so like, I guess she was flabbergasted because she was like, you left me? I go, yeah, I did.
What do you expect?
See, that is a person with healthy boundaries and tolerances that they're not going to fucking tolerate bullshit. All right? Listen, I know the value I can provide to a woman mentally, emotionally, all those types of things, financially. Like, I know what I can do. All right? And the moment that I'm not trying to say appreciate me. All right? But at least fucking acknowledge that I exist. God damn. Like, crazy. So, she then texted me like one evening, I think it was like the evening after, and she got drunk and she's like, "It's so lonely." And that like fucking hurt me because it's just like, you're not even missing me. You're missing the idea of me, the idea of a person being with you.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I meant nothing to her, and I was like, all right, whatever. So I went back on these dating apps with Upward, the Christian dating site, being the lead contender and where I was getting the most matches. And let me tell you, oh my God, it's like the sewer. Like, it wasn't good. It was just like a lot of ghosting, not even a meeting up or whatever. I actually did meet this one Latina chick, and she was actually for the most part very very down to earth. However, she was a huge catfish. Huge. When I say huge, I mean like ginormous. Like,
so break it down.
What's a catfish? If some people don't know.
So a catfish is where a man or a woman, like, I wouldn't say doctors their photos, but gets like certain angles where they appear like they don't have a double chin, or their side profiles look really nice, or they use a little bit of face tuning. They don't show their actual body. Like, it's just purely like headshots, right? And I was like, okay, well, I could deal with her, bro. Like, the whole process was like very difficult. She was, she was very consistent from when I was speaking with her up until the time it came to actually meet. She became very spotty, and I was like, I told her, I was like, so and so, I was like, I'm traveling all the way out to Brooklyn. I hope that like I'm seeing you.
Got him.
Right? So what traveled to Brooklyn, and then it's 45 minutes, an hour. I was like, listen, I'm cutting it off in an hour and 15. I was like, if you're not here within the next 15 minutes, I'm leaving.
Right.
And I took myself out of my comfort zone. I went to a place that I really just have no business or want to be there at all. I just don't like the city in general. But I made an exception. I was like, you know what? Keep an open mind. Maybe you're passing up an opportunity that could be worthwhile for you.
Yeah, very good.
Saw her. I was like, so-and-so? And she goes, hey. And she's like this... I'm sorry.
Gordita. We said, hey.
She's a gordita.
She was a torta. Like, whoa, my God. And I'm
You couldn't tell from the pictures?
I couldn't tell from the pictures.
Oh my God! Listen, this is a rule of thumb. Anytime. Let me. Okay, this is me right here. Anytime a woman only shows their head in pictures, they're fat. I never miss when they just show the headshot. They're big.
Yeah,
You couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell. Did
you leave it there? Did you
No.
He's not that shallow.
I couldn't do that. I don't
know.
I was like, so where do you want to eat? And she goes, oh, there's this Colombian place. So we
Did she eat more than you?
No.
Okay.
Come on.
She did. Okay. So we sat down at the restaurant and whatnot. Yeah, she's like, I like to eat. I was like,
Really?
I'm not gonna say anything, but it like sure shows. We were seated and we were having our meal. She ordered like cow tongue. I ordered like a steak or something, and she goes, "Have you ever had cow tongue?" I was like, "No."
Not.
I was like,
Not ever,
"No."
right?
She's like, here, taste.
Yeah.
And so she fork fed me
Yeah, that's nice.
cow tongue. I was like, oh my God, that's so touching. Like that's the first time in my life that a woman has ever fed me.
Yeah.
Ever fed me. Like,
shout out to the big girls.
Yeah.
oh my God, like crazy. And so, she was a nice person.
Yeah, she seems like a nice girl.
But at the end of the day, like I just wasn't attracted to her like that.
She's not your type, I guess.
And I didn't ghost her. I just said, listen, I don't think this is going to work out, blah, 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 blah. And so that was within a span of 6 months, I was a second woman, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I was, Luis also trains me in my basement. So one day, I remember this, I was like on the treadmill and he was so frustrated. And Hassan, he goes to me, he goes, Mo, it's really bad out there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know. I haven't dated in like over like almost 20 years here, like whatever. I have no clue, what it is or whatever. So he's breaking it down for me and he's showing me, he said, look, all these women here have all these choices and men have very slim pickings. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, Mo, he's like, look, there's like this one man who's like a 10 out of 10. And all these women, let's say 100 women, they're all chasing after this one man. What about everybody else? He's like, if only one woman ends up with that one man, what about the other 99? This and that. He's just like, Mo, it's so bad. And he's like, in a scale of 1 to 10, he's like, Mo, like the men who are like an 8 or a 9 have to downgrade to like 5 and 6 just to get someone, and like the man who's like a 5 doesn't even get anybody.
No, they're invisible, invisible.
And he's like, these women who are like 4s and 5s are shooting for the 8s in the men's or whatever, and that's based on a bunch of factors, not just looks. I mean, that's just everything. And I said, well, that's crazy. I'm like, come on, Luis, you can't be serious, this and that. So he goes, you know what, Mo? I did an experiment. Luis said his experiment. He pulls out one of the apps and he shows me. And I'm telling you, it has the girl. I'm being nice, okay? I'm being nice. If we have a picture of her, just black out her eyes, whatever it is, you would be the judge. Purely physical, she's probably like a 4. Okay, if I'm being nice, she's really like a 3, but okay, let's give her a 4. Okay, and Luis, in my opinion, I love Luis, so I'm gonna say Luis is like a 9. Okay, but okay, let's take off my mother filter, whatever it is. But Luis is at least a 7. Okay, at least a 7 here. 7.5 at least, guys. Like he's got a good job. He's a nice person. He's got all these things going for him. He's at least a 7, 7.5, easy. Bruh. This girl, he's like, I went after this girl who's like a 3-4. And guess what, Mo? She ghosted me. The 3-4 ghosted me. I'm at least a 7. He goes, I go, yeah, man, your brother a 7. He goes, no, Mo, look how bad this is. And I couldn't believe it till I saw it with my own eyes.
It's crazy out there because now you have someone like Luis, no kids, good career.
Yeah.
Got his head on straight.
Yeah.
Got it running a business. He's a personal trainer.
He's a PA.
He has the pick of the litter, right? He's considered, girls will want to be with him because he doesn't have the baggage, right? But nowadays, what he's saying is he's better off, like in America, going to get a 3 or 4. He probably might have more success in that than trying to get a 9 or 10.
Yeah, or what he deserves or
what he
whatever.
deserves,
at least an 8 or something, whatever.
Because I'm not saying he can't get a 9 or 10. He can get a 9 or 10, but she's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
She's going to be trying to do some weird stuff.
She's going to have problems.
But then the 3 and the 4, she might have the treatment like the big girl was feeding you.
Right.
So it's like, you got to be like, damn, like, if I want the treatment, I got to go low. If I want the looks, I got to go high with no treatment. It's a weird game out there, bro.
Yeah.
So he also, I just want to say, after that, I was in shock. And then he goes, Mo, I'm so sick of this shit. I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. I'm like, all right, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't want to date anymore, Mo. I just want to get freaking married and have kids. I realized, Mo.
Really?
Yeah, he goes,
Okay.
he's 36 now. He goes, oh, I just realized for me now, I just want something long term, like a marriage, and I want to have children, and I want to like do all this stuff. And I said, oh, that's wonderful. That's a big blessing. That's great. So then I start thinking, I'm like, okay, if I was Luis and I'm single and I whatever, and I'm 30, I'm not 36, I'm older than that, but let's say I'm 36 and I'm him. What do? I don't want to be on the apps. I don't want to go on all these weird blind, semi-blind dates and whatever. I don't want to do this. You know, I travel a lot. I said, you know what I would do? I'll probably just go to some East Asian country and just marry some woman out there. You know, that's what I would do.
Foreign.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
And I go, especially with what I know who Luis is and what he needs, whatever it is. I said, listen, the best thing right now for you, Luis, is to just go to a third world country and just marry a nice woman, and you'll be happy and everything will be okay. So he goes, surprisingly, he goes, you know what, Mo, fine, I'm all in. I'm like, what? He goes,
Right?
yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. Because he was so frustrated and he was done. He was done. So I go, okay, well, I said, you know, in December, I was in the Philippines with my family. I was there with my wife and kids. We had a great time and everything. And I also have 2 virtual assistants in the Philippines, Kyle and Drew. Shout out to Kyle and Drew. And, you know, they're great. And so the first thing I did, I got off the treadmill and I called Kyle right away. I go, hey, Kyle, it's me. And he goes, yeah, how you doing, Doc? I was like, yeah. I like, Kyle, a little weird question, a little awkward, whatever. You think you could get my friend married to a Filipino woman? And he goes, yeah. I go, oh, yeah, okay, great. And then the next step was, and I'm like, Luis, you okay with that? He's like, yeah, I'm okay with it. So the next step, we go, all right. So then we started making like videos of Luis, like a thing of Luis. We made like a profile for him. And then Kyle puts him on the Philippines on all these like dating things and all these like, you know, people, his own network, who he knows, everything is whatever. And Luis came back with like a crazy amount of matches.
How many matches?
I think it was like something like 1,000, something nuts. But then we put in the filters and we got it down to like 212, which is still nuts. All right, where here in America he's having like trouble, slim pickings, and whatever, and even the ones he's finding he's not really into,
Catfishing,
and all this stuff. Now he just got 212 people who met his criteria, like under 30, needs to look like whatever it was, needs to be
how do they look?
Whatever.
How do they look?
Beautiful girls. Yeah, okay. I can show you. I mean, beautiful girls. You sent me the picture.
Some of the choices that I received were like that great, but like for the most part, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
Good.
So now to narrow from 212 down to 1, I mean, like, you know, Luis started going through it, whatever, and look, a good 20 of them were actually like men, so that we eliminated them real quick.
Wait.
Yeah. Your topic of choice. Some of them were
slow it down.
Some of them were
Ladyboy.
Yeah, the lady boy.
Yeah.
Lady
Some were, and then some were just, you know.
So
gay,
out there,
you know?
do they have to say that they ladyboys?
I don't know if they got to say it or whatever it is, but look, out there is definitely a percentage that, like Vietnam, like Thailand, like whatever, they do exist in the Philippines too.
Listen, I got a question for you. You can't differentiate a lady boy from a lady.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No. But what I'm saying
I don't
is,
know, man. Some of them are.
No.
They look,
No.
Look like.
I'm gonna be honest with
sorry.
you. Let me be honest with you. There's some lady boys or trans women who I've seen online.
I would never.
I would never.
guess
Walking past,
there,
bro.
man.
I'm not an expert. I would never.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, that's a man.
Never. I
listen.
wouldn't guess it either.
I will give you a telltale sign.
Okay. What's the sneaker?
You look at their hands.
Mm.
You look at the hands, and you look at the Adam's apple. If they don't have an Adam's apple, look at the hands. How big those hands are.
Okay.
Okay,
I didn't know.
okay.
See, how would we know that?
You look at those hands. You gotta look at those hands.
All right.
So then what happened has, you know, we're talking, Kyle's talking. Now I give Kyle Luis's number. You know, we started narrowing down all these girls, all these women, and, you know, it gets to about like 20, you know, that he really is like, oh, I want to talk to him, whatever. So then we had Kyle basically act as like his filter, and he like was questioning them, you know, meeting them, doing whatever, showing that he's the real deal. Even the videos we had to show of Luis, some of these women thought he was a scam. Like proving the hardest
too
part
good to be true.
Yeah, the hardest part was proving to them that he's a real person who's really interested in marrying someone in the Philippines. So some women even were like, "Oh, you're AI." Like, or some people were like, "F you, you're a scam."
But that
you
must
know?
feel good though.
No, it was really good. Like, but I have to tell you something that it was a job. It was a third job trying to show appearances in the sense of like trying to chat them up. Honestly, it was a real big, hard job. Like it was exhausting. It was very exhausting. Like sometimes I almost slipped up occasionally where I'd be texting one chick and then like I would respond to her message, but mistakenly I responded to another person's message, which she's like, "What are you talking about?" Like I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, "Yeah, I didn't mean it like that." Like, and so I steered the conversation and redirected it elsewhere. But it was, listen, what a lot of people don't understand is that when you're dating, you have to date like it's a job. You have to be serious about it, right? And most people, they're not serious about it. For me personally, I'm very serious about it, but I think most people in the States use it to quell their boredom. Even though they don't say that I'm just bored and I'm just seeing who I can like or who likes me, XYZ, chasing that external validation. That's what these apps are turned into. It's like a gamified like popularity contest, right? Like, ooh, let's see if I can, shoot the shit and see if this person likes me. But at the end of the day, most people don't date with intent. You have to date with intent, and for it to actually lead to something substantive. Yeah, most of the women that I met, they weren't serious about it. They weren't serious about it. One, two, they were probably there's a lack of scarcity. So I'm just like, just one out of like 50 million to them.
Here.
Yeah, here. And three, they were just very lackadaisical. They just didn't care. I don't know. It's a really dysregulated and dysfunctional sexual marketplace in the U.S. Like it's not good. It's not a good thing. And so taking the advice of Dr. Hottie, I went to the Philippines and I saw some matches over there.
First, let's tell the viewers, like, look, once you narrowed it down to like 20, it was like a job for him. He was like, and they're 12 hours ahead.
Yeah.
So he's like talking to one at 8:30 a.m., then 9 a.m., then 9:30, then 10 a.m. And he was like, "Whoa, this is like work." He's like, and he really like filtered it down. Then he got it down to like 9 women. Then from 9 women, he really busted his, like he was like talking to them, getting whatever info. And he did this over like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then finally, we got it down to like 3 women. And at this point, he was like, "Well, I have to get over to the Philippines," because he's like, "I'm just going to lose interest. I can't just keep FaceTiming women and talking to them and doing this and that and whatever." So I said, "All right, man, let's go to the Philippines."
Yeah, and not only that, they're gonna lose interest in me too.
Right,
It's only so much that I can keep up the charade and stuff like that.
But I also want to ask you one thing, Luis. Like, why do you think, and I'll just say this, like, we went to the Philippines and we'll talk about our experiences in the Philippines, but why do you think this more and more men want to do something like this?
I mean this in the nicest way possible.
It's unplugged, Luis. Just say what you want to say.
They're sick of American women. They're sick of the Western contagion. Like,
why? What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of entitlement with when it comes to dating, and a lot of women are very nitpicky and meticulous about the men that they actually want to go on a date with. So for instance, it's hard enough to get a number off these apps. They will keep you on those fucking apps. They will keep you on those apps, until you fucking were like a jester, like monkeying around and saying, oh, like, try and make time for them and just be super consistent. It's just like, for me, the way I look at it, a number is a number. Like, why are you gatekeeping your fucking number? Just give me your fucking number so I can get off this goddamn app, and then we can have more of a private conversation here. Right? Some of these apps actually do monitor the conversation, so that's why I desperately want to get off those apps. I don't need them looking at my conversations. Right. But at any rate, most of these women gatekeep their numbers, and I'm just like, I'm not trying to do this. And they would actually go so far as to like call you on those apps too, and at the same time they'll, I don't know. It's just it's maybe they didn't like me enough to give me their numbers or whatever. But like, I don't know.
I think another thing, we in an era of social media where people don't even, giving a number is almost equivalent to like when we was growing up coming to somebody's house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now social media is like a barrier for that. So people don't give out their numbers anymore. They say, hey, here's my social media. Here's my Instagram. Here's my, so TikTok. You can see my TikTok or my YouTube, my Twitter. Then after that is, okay, here's my phone number, because that's like giving you complete access to me. But when we would come up, it was like the number was the first thing you give. Yeah. And then it was like, because there was no social media. And then it was like, all right, come meet my parents, come over and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's probably what you're dealing with.
You see, like, it's hard for me because like I'm a millennial, right? I'm 36 years of age, right? I've been through the AOL. I've been through the number grabbing, all that stuff. Yep. But the landscape has drastically shifted. Now all these communications are done on those apps, with Instagram being the number one dating app, honest, believe it or not. Number
Instagram.
one.
Right? Instagram?
Yeah. Bro.
Instagram. Yeah. So
Instagram is people go
on dates from Instagram.
Yeah,
DMs.
They link up.
Yes, the DMs. The DMs.
They link up and stuff like that. But but for men, it's even trying to get the woman to go on a date in person is a very difficult task. It's a very difficult task because some of these women will just leave you in what I call purgatory. They just leave you. They just leave you there. They're like, when they need their quick fill of external validation, here you are, right? Willing to simp for them and shit like that. But
oh boy,
because the reality, a lot of these women, they have about 7 choices. That's what I call it. They got the guy they call when they bored, the guy with the money, the older guy that pays the rent, the other guy that they like to show off, the ball player, the doctor, the lawyer, the other guy that's close to the family that the family wants them to marry, the other guy that they don't really like, but he's there to move a couch or a table, and then they probably got a gay friend.
No, okay. They got another guy for dick.
Then the guy that just come and just give them the tool. Right. So when they meet somebody like Luis, they're like, why am I going to leave all my 8 guys
for you? Even though Luis is offering all that and more, they don't see it. Yeah, in
one person, because they have to take accountability. They have to be faithful. They have to be loyal. They have to pick up when he calls and meet him. And so,
but what's wrong with that? You get so much more. Bro, you want to just run around?
No, social media tells them that don't do that.
Listen, man. All I'm telling you is like, again, not disrespecting, but at the same time disrespecting. American women are cooked, bro. They're fucking cooked. They're just mad. They're mad, bro. They don't know.
Come on,
listen. They don't
generalizations again. Listen.
They don't know what they don't know what they want. Okay, they don't know who and what they are. Okay, they have infantilized fucking behavior. All right.
He's going.
No, I'm going for it.
He's going for the
Let him go for it. Because these are not fucking real women. They're not real women. They're really not fucking real women. They're not.
The AI.
And you know what? You know what it is? I'm going to be called misogynistic. Every label underneath the sun, whatever, me talking about women. But listen, I'm a guy with zero tolerances when it comes to just stupid, nonsensical behavior. And that's what American women are. They're entitled. Okay, they think that the world is owed to them. All right, just hear me out for 1 second. And I told Mo this morning. All right, when guys are little, when boys are little, right, we're indoctrinated to say you have to treat a woman this way, this way, this way, this way. Make sure she's happy. X, Y, Z. Blah blah blah. Where's the fucking same pep talk for women when they're younger? Instead, what you hear is you got to be strong, you got to be independent, you got to make sure your man treats you right. What about, hey, make sure you treat your man right? Where are those talks?
Well, it's a balance, right? Look, I have 2 daughters, and I will tell you, both daughters, I raised them that way. Like, look, yes, I want them to be strong. I told them, like, look, you can't just rely on your husband or whoever, later on. You got to be able to do something for yourself. You have to make some kind of income for yourself. I'm not saying you have to be a billionaire, but you got to do something. But at the same time, too, I teach them too. Like, look at me and your mother. It's a balance. Like, look, your mother makes sure I'm happy. I make sure she's happy. You gotta do nice things for one another. You gotta do those things. So you gotta give them a nice balance.
Yes, and I agree.
Right.
And listen, everything in life has to be about balance, all right? But I feel like all of us live on the extremes, right? Whether or not it be on the man-hating, woman-hating side, or on the I absolutely simp for them at whatever the cost, and I'll just sacrifice myself in the process and fuck my boundaries or tolerances and all that stuff.
It's true. This society in America, the West, if you don't pander to women, you're gonna be a misogynistic.
Listen.
If you don't be like, the women are so great. God bless the woman. The woman.
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you, Mo.
The only reason why when you speak out against behavior that you don't agree with is considered misogynistic is because we live in a gynocentric society. And what that everything is centered around the woman. And it's just like, listen, I'm not trying to be inflammatory over here, but like I see it for what it is. How come it was so easy for me, okay, to gain these matches? The matches in the Philippines, they were very personable and easy to talk to. They actually expressed fucking interest in you.
Right.
All right. How come it's so easy over there as compared to when not over here? All right. And listen, it's this rugged individualism in our society where we have to be self-sufficient. We have to be proud of our accomplishments. We don't rely on anybody. Fuck the collective. Like, where are the social bonds? We're alienating ourselves from these.
I hear you, but I'm going to tell you, like, gynocentric society, I don't know, because look, men still run America. Like, I mean, look, all the top execs, all the top, people, most of the people in power, political power, economic power, whatever power, social power, most of them are men, guys. They're still running the show. We're still running the show.
All right. When Harris gets elected, that's
another thing. We never even had a female president.
Hold on. When Harris gets elected, then you come to me and then tell me about those types of things, okay? Because until then, all right, when she gets elected, because she is going to get elected, all right, you do not say it's not a gynocentric society. Do not even come with me to that bullshit, all right? Because it absolutely is, all right? And that's the thing.
What if she doesn't get elected?
What? Well, then you're proven right.
Your point is right.
Yeah,
all right.
You're proven right. But
so that means we're gonna, after the election, we're gonna have a special podcast.
Yeah, just
that's right.
And we're gonna see who's right.
Yeah,
that's right. But I'm dying firm. I'm dying firm on this hill, and I'm just saying it's a gynocentric society. It's what the man can do, and all about women's feelings and stuff like that.
Bro, that's why the passport bro movement is so big now, because men think just like you. And it's a movement of men that they're done with this shit here.
I'm done. I'm checked out. I'm checked out. And you know what the crazy thing about this is that I have girlfriends, friends that are girls, all right? And I even approach them about this subject, and they called me pathetic, weak, desperate. They weren't even rooting for me. They were not supportive. They weren't even encouraging. They're just like, oh, you can't handle a real woman. I was like, the fucking shit that you're showing me right now, I don't want to deal with that shit. I need peace in my life.
Right.
I want my life to be fucking peaceful. Contribute to my peace. I've done so much work on myself. I'm telling you, so much.
Yeah, well, I think the response, like that, because I think the way they see it is, it's almost like an insult to them, I guess. I don't know. And, I think the good thing about, you going to the Philippines and finding someone for a life partner and marriage and everything, I think the nice thing about that is, well, you took yourself out of this game, right? So it's almost like a cheat code in a sense, I guess, or whatever. So I don't see what the problem with it is, but I can see maybe women here, I don't know why they're so offended by you doing that as one person. Like, maybe it's a trend that's happening more and more, like you're saying.
I gave my girlfriend this an analogy, right? my friend that is a girl.
Right.
All right. I said, oh, now you want to take out and play with the toys that you've fucking abandoned. Right? It's like a little kid, right? You have a toy chest over here. Mommy and daddy's going to clean it out. But the little kid goes to the toy chest and says, no, this is mine. You're not taking it away from me. It's the same thing with American women over here. It's just like they don't fucking like you per se.
Right.
You're just removing the little ounce of validation that they receive. And any ounce of that is an automatic, like it inflames them and enrages them because it's just like, oh, this guy's checking out. How can he fucking check out? This is an insult to me. Blah, 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 blah. Like, get over it. Fucking get over it. At the end of the day, you know what it is that everyone's so concerned about the external validation of others in the sense that like, oh, how can I derive my happiness? Most people are not living for themselves. They're living for other fucking people. Right. That's what it is, right? And so when I reject
That's true.
this concept of external validation, all right, where I need people to dictate my happiness, no, fuck that.
Right.
I don't care.
I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
No way.
I definitely agree with you on that.
I'm gonna do shit my way, and if you don't like it, then you know what? Tough for you.
That's right.
Right? Where were you? Are you fucking dating me? Date me then.
Right.
Date me. Give
Right.
me a fucking chance.
Right.
But you don't. You don't want to give me a chance. Okay? Because you're chasing the male archetype, the archetype that's supposed to be masculine. All right, well dressed, well mannered, bunch of money, groomed, tall, dark, handsome, white, whatever, blue eyes, all this other shit. You're chasing a delusion.
Right.
You're fucking delusional.
Well, we always say you want to please the creator, not the creation.
Exactly.
Right? And it's true. It just the creation seems to just align itself once you get on that path, which I agree with you on that one.
Listen. I know it comes across as like I'm being embittered and stuff like that, but this is impassioned frustration. All right, because it's just like now I'm getting a lot of pushback.
Yeah,
right?
you are
for taking into account my happiness. I'm getting a lot of pushback.
This is I look, anyone who and we're gonna get into this, but like Luis was successful over there in the Philippines. But anyone who I tell this story to, generally, what's been happening is anyone, if they're male, they're like, good for him, man. They're happy for him, whatever. The female, it's very lukewarm. You know, it's kind of like
lukewarm, maybe even cold.
Yeah,
man.
maybe even cold. It's very like
ice bath.
You know why? You know, I'm getting.
Yeah,
I'm
because
like, what's it to you? I always think, I'm like, who cares? He's just one guy.
These women over here have a groupthink mentality. They have, like you said, the elitists. They think that they're better than everybody. So how dare you get on a plane,
flip the script,
go to a developing nation, and find your happiness? How you supposed to stay here and have a heart attack at 40? Stroke out at 50.
Yeah.
And that's what you then you're a strong man. You know how many women out here that like, my dad was a great man. He stood by my mom and he's half crippled, blind, legally blind. He's limping, he's walking. You're like, yeah, how did you
I don't want to be like that.
He's only 58. What the hell?
Yeah.
But see, so when you make a decision living for yourself, that's a great point that you said. Live for yourself. You chose your happiness, and it's about your happiness, bro.
Yeah,
right? It's about happiness.
So let's get into it. So then he gets on a plane. He goes to the Philippines. Now he's down to 3 women. Okay, he's down to 3 women that he's been vetting, you know, for over the 4-6 weeks, whatever. Talking to them, FaceTime, knows everything about him. They know everything about him. Sets himself up, whatever. The first woman who comes. Tell us about that, Luis.
All right, so she was a little bit later in the game. The other 2 that I narrowed down was like 2 months talking to them, right? There was one girl, and I'll go into a profile for each, right? So we'll go with one girl. She's very pleasant. She actually serenaded me, which was a really nice thing. Like she sung to me. Like I thought it was very cute. But the only reason why I kind of got like I kept my distance away from her. Still kept her as an option, but kept my distance away from her. Or hold on, disclaimer. You can't put your eggs in one basket. All right, you have to diversify.
Yeah,
right?
I get it. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely trying to find your best match. I get that. That's fine.
All right. So you know, with her, she had I found that there was. All right, in the Philippines, they're still big on family. They're still big on the collective. There's a lot of there's still a lot of East Asian influences there in the sense of like our social bonds are important to us. Right. But what you're seeing now, there's a lot of the Western contagion infiltrating those areas too. Now the independence, the self-sufficiency, all about like not trying to be interdependent in your relationships and all this other stuff. They're really the Filipinos are really starting to take this fourth, fifth wave feminism into account in their cultures now. So this girl, even though she's still a sweetheart, XYZ, she fought back with me on a lot of things, and it's just like one example of it being was I think she was very inconsistent in her messaging me, right? I was like, listen, you have to figure out what you want. I'm interested in you. Apparently you're not interested in me. Oh, I'm sorry, work. I was like, no, that's not. I was like, I operate a business. I have a lot of things going on. I still make the fucking time, right? She's like, well, I'm not you. I was like, I understand that, okay? But you have to show me that you're fucking interested in me. Her Instagram is active status almost all the fucking time. I message her on her active status, that active status goes away. I'm like, what are you fucking doing here? I was like, make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. What, you don't want to immediately message me? Like, I don't understand. I was like, I'm dating to marry. This is a fucking job. This is business. I was like, what are you doing over here? You're playing around.
Yeah, but I'm serious.
She goes, oh, I never had a man talk to me that way. I was like, this has nothing to do with you being spoken to that way. It's just me telling you what I'm looking for in a partner. And you're not giving it to me, right? You're not being attentive.
Right.
You're not, and she's single too. She has no obligations.
And you're probably thinking like, I'm serious. I'm 100 serious.
Yes.
Like, I want to get married. I'm not here to just date you.
So needless to say, after this whole entire thing, she would get offended by me saying some things just like, okay, dude. I'm like, don't call me fucking dude. What is this shit? Right? I was like, I'm not trying to deal with this. So it's again, infantile behavior, whatever, XYZ. It turned totally like, ugh. I don't want to deal with any of that shit because I knew that at the end of the day, I would have to listen. There's nothing wrong with guiding an individual in a relationship, especially if you have the wisdom to do so. I get that, right? But when you constantly have to guide them, right? Listen, put your big girl panties on and fucking start thinking for yourself, right? Be a little intuitive and say, maybe I should respond to him when he text messages me and not fucking, he see my active status, I log off and I'll text him 4 hours later. Fuck up out of here with that shit.
She had another man, bro.
Yeah, no.
She had another man.
So my what I gather from all this is that I probably was gonna go to the Philippines, probably fuck her, all right, because she was probably looking for a lay because I was like the first foreigner that she's spoken to, so-called first foreigner, whatever. And that's all she was looking for because she has this like Sex in the City mentality. It's just like she's a high earning worker, right? So she makes $38 a day compared to regular Filipinos that make almost $6 to $8 a day. So she's making almost 4 times that amount, right?
Right.
So she's on her high horse right now. And I was like, I'm not trying to deal with that shit.
All right, so she was like bottom of the barrel.
Bottom of the barrel. She, at one point, she was like first place, but whatever. And then I had this other girl. She was a sweetheart, but something wasn't adding up with her. Like, she wasn't close to her family. She was living in Cebu, but her family is in Mindanao.
Okay.
So it's a very predominantly Muslim area. Although she says she's Roman Catholic, I mean, religious affiliations has nothing to do with any of this stuff. But I found it weird that she only lived with her sister, that she never kept in contact with her family, though she was funneling money to them. All right, I don't know.
It didn't add up.
It didn't add up to me. Right. And plus, I talked both of those chicks I talked to for 2 months, right? And not once did they introduce me or wanted to introduce me to their family. None. So here comes along Shaira, all right? And she, before the Philippine trip, she literally pumped in maybe like 2 to 3 weeks before, right? And this girl was, she laid everything out. She was very truthful about it. She's like, listen, I'm a single baby mom. all this other stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
that was the crazy me. He's like, Mo, I really like this girl, but she's already got 3 kids. I said, 3 kids? Luis, what are you, crazy? You ready to be dad? Are you kidding me? You're a single man. Why the hell would you do this? You get your pick of the litter. Bro, he had 1,000 matches, and he's going to end up with someone who's like a mother of 3. I said, bro, come on, man.
But,
you shouldn't be doing this.
But going through the baby mama experience in the States and stuff like that, again, opened my mind and stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to reject a person because of the kids or whatever. And, personally, I love kids. I think it's great. There's an innocence in them that you can't, that at one point we all lost. But it's great to relive that vicariously through them.
It's a wonderful thing that you're doing this. You ended up with, that's a wonderful thing. Everything. I'm just saying, I'm just looking out for your best interest. So I thought, like, look, if he's going to do this, he might as well get almost basically the perfect woman, which meant not having any children.
I know.
Sorry to the single mamas, I'm just saying, but like for a single male, it's one thing if he had his own kids already and she has, I get that, whatever. But for the single male who doesn't have any kids to take on someone else's children, well, I mean, that's not exactly the ideal situation. Nothing
Not
against
at
it, but
all.
I'm just
Not
saying
at
that
all.
is not an ideal situation. So when you have all this going into it, I was kind of like, Luis, are you sure? Like, whatever. But then look, when I went, of course, I'm going to go with my man. I was there and I met her. She really is a wonderful person, and she's a great, I think, fiance, soon to be married, whatever it is, I think he did a great job there. I think it all worked out really well.
Yeah,
Good.
she was very serious. And so what won me over with her was not only did she put everything out from the front, like our first interaction was like, oh well, I'm a single mom of 3, and I was like, 3. I was like, oh my god. I was like, ew.
And how old are you?
Yeah, I was like, how old are you again? She was like 26. I'm like, all right, bet. And then I was like, well, I don't have a problem with 3 kids. I was like, the issue here is like, this is the make or break. I was like, will you be able to give me children of my own? Right? And she goes, of course. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, bet. All right, awesome. So, we were talking and all this other stuff, and she was very, very serious, and she's the one that elected to say, hey, listen, I like you. I want to introduce you to my family. I'm like, and this was like,
She's serious.
Yeah, she was very serious. And
serious.
In Filipino culture, when a woman decides to introduce you to the family,
Sure.
they're really hell bent on
Oh, Luis, come on. I told you, man, she had to throw everything she had at you because, like, look, she's looking at it like, look, he's a good guy. He can take care of me. He can take care of the kids. Like, I could really build a future with him. She was all in from the gate. Right out the gate, she was already all in. So she threw everything. And I'm going to just say this. The icing on the cake was when Luis met the kids. They started calling him Daddy. I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, are you kidding me?
The first time?
She trained him. She trained him. She trained him. I don't care.
She said when he walked in this house.
No, it wasn't even walking in the house. It was on
the
a video call.
On the video call. I was like,
Daddy.
oh my God. I was like, no way. I was like,
my God.
I just threw my hands in the air. I was like, forget
Listen,
it.
I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of like overwhelming, but I'm a strong motherfucker, so I can handle shit. But I'm just saying, it was overwhelming. Especially hearing that the first time, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, what I want, but Luis ate it up. And what I wanted to say too was, so look, Luis, as we know, listen, what she brought to the table too was this like strong familial ties and everything. And like the whole family has basically just swept him off his feet. Like, you got the mother, she wants to like massage his head. You got the aunt over there, the sister, the brother, the father, everybody, the kids, the aunts, uncle, everyone and their mother was like there. And they were like, oh my God, Luis, you're so wonderful. Oh my God, Luis. And I was like, he's falling in love with this too. I was like, man, must be a very nice feeling to someone who's never had that.
But
right?
I'll tell you, so why family is important to me and why I'm so hell-bent on being part of the collective, right? Interdependent with my relationships is because I've never had that growing up.
Right.
All right.
Right.
My mom and dad went through a nasty divorce. They were not in the process, I had a third party interfere in their marriage.
Right.
That's what led to the divorce. Needless to say, because of that third party, I've become very prejudiced against the LGBT community because that woman has really fucked up the whole entire family. And
Wait. Your parents broke up because
my parents broke up because there was a lesbian that inserted herself
to your mom.
into my parents' marriage, affected my mom,
Wow.
steered her in ways
And left your dad.
to dissolve the marriage.
Shit.
Okay. Tried to get as much from my father as possible. Okay. Only to fail. All right. And left every single child to fend for themselves.
How many kids was there?
5. Okay. And so what I'm saying is that, needless to say, I'm not going...
She was the homewrecker, basically.
She was the homewrecker.
Okay.
You never hear that.
Yeah.
You never hear.
That's the first.
You always hear like the man coming in and bringing her home.
No, this
She was a
woman,
homewrecker.
this woman.
Now, listen, my dad wasn't a saint, right? My dad wasn't a saint. He was abusive in his ways and stuff like that. And yeah, it wasn't a pleasant marriage. Okay, I have to give him that. But I told my mom, I even spoke to her, I think last couple months ago. I was like, would you have been better off in your situation today, or would you have been better off with your situation with Rubio? And she goes, I would be better off with him. I was like,
Wait, I'm a little confused though. Like, Louis, the lesbian woman inserted herself, whatever, and then dissolved the marriage.
I'll give you.
But then she wasn't even lesbian. Your mother.
No,
Right.
but that's what LGBTQ people do. Okay. They seek. They're predators. They seek.
Oh boy, Luis.
They seek vulnerability. They seek vulnerability. All right. They insert themselves and they try to manipulate these vulnerable people. Okay, to come to the other side. All right. Listen.
Your mom never went.
No, she did. She experimented
For a tiny while, and then realized she wasn't.
Correct.
Oh boy, but
it
it
was
too
just
late at that
massive
point.
chaos and deviance and all that stuff. But needless to say, listen, I know the way I'm speaking about them comes across as harsh and stuff like that, but they have not been in my shoes. Okay, listen, they can do whatever the fuck they want with their life. Don't come near me. Just don't come near me.
Right.
Don't come near me. If you want to have a conversation with me, I can have a conversation with you. But I know how these people operate already. I know how they operate. Okay.
I mean, again, Luis, you going back into generalizations. I know you had bad experience. You had all that, but you generalized.
Because
first, you generalized Western women, then you generalized the LGBT.
Listen, it's because it's not you. Because it's you.
No, I get it. It's
you're
your
not
experience.
experiencing it.
Yeah,
Right?
I never experienced it. You're right.
But it's just
I
like a
did not.
woman. It's just like a woman who's really let's just say a rape survivor. Okay.
Right.
That's her experience.
Right.
And do you think she's gonna take kindly to fucking men? She's not.
Probably not.
No.
Correct.
She'll
Probably
be
not.
extremely
Yes.
biased and
Absolutely.
prejudiced against them and say, no, they're fucking pigs and animals.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, you're
And
probably
I'm
right.
not going to be one over here and say, oh well, I'm a harmless guy and this and this and this and this. She has every right and entitlement to feel the way she feels for the experiences she's gone through. As am I.
Right. That's what she knows. I mean,
That's
she knows
what
what she knows. I get it.
That's what you know. All right. But listen, I'm going to be cordial with them, but I know them. All right. At one point, I was at a high school gathering, XYZ. All right. Washing my fucking hands. Turn around. And there's a gay kid from class eons ago. And he goes, hey, Lois, how's it going? I was like, fine. He goes, locks the fucking door on the bathroom, locks the fucking door. Okay. And it's like, so, I was just wondering, like, how things been going with you and life? And I was like, they're going. He goes, okay. He's like, by the way, you're gay, right? I'm like, no, I'm not. And I was like, excuse me, I gotta go back and eat. Unlocked that fucking thing and pulled the door out. All right, that's one. Mo has
He locked the door.
That Mo has. That's one of many situations.
I don't know what has or I would message.
Okay,
Bro, what you locking the door for, bro?
okay, that's one. That's one of many situations that I've been through with the LGBT.
So you had a rough time with that community.
Yeah, listen, again, like I said, you want to have a conversation with me, I'll be cordial, I'll be respectful, this and this and this and this and this. All right? but you're not fooling me for 1 second underneath that veil, okay? That you're a nice fucking person and that you will not be a predator if an opportunity arises for you. You will, and you are, okay? Needless to say, okay, so and that's an extreme deviation right there. But
all right. Anyway, back to the point. Now Luis made the flight. We're in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know how we got on that because of his mother. Whatever. It's fine. All right. Sorry, that's not what we all think here. That's what Luis's opinion is. We'll just leave it at that. All right. Anyway, so then we're
for clarity, they're in no way, just because they're interviewing me, they're in no way endorsing my views.
Yeah. Thank you, Luis. Anyway, so we're back in the Philippines. Now he's meeting the girl. All right,
Yeah.
and he things are going good. Things are whatever.
Right.
Day one, she's also a Filipina, so she was a little bit shy. She was whatever. And Luis is like, I don't know, Mo. He's like telling me on day two, like, look, man, I don't know. Maybe I end it with her and I go with number 2 or number 3. And I'm like, hold on, Luis. Give her a chance. Like,
Yeah,
God,
so
you wanted her to just rape him right away? Like, what is going on?
So what happened was that, when you're dating, it's important to have physical touch, okay? Especially on the first date. Most people, they don't know, there's not a rule book to dating, but there kind of is, right? You don't want to be overly aggressive with your touch, but you want to do nice subtle things like grab a hand or pat the back or grab a little bit of waist, snug them a little bit. Something like that to show closeness. She wasn't doing any of that. She was very detached, avoidant, very, I would say, shy, but this is the first time I've ever seen a case of shyness like this. All right.
I mean, she's not, like you said, she's not your typical Western woman.
Then, my other friend, he had a Filipino with him, and she was showing all signs of attachment, all signs of being enamored by him, all signs of closeness, all this other stuff, kicking her feet like a little schoolgirl when she was sitting on a bench with him, lying on his shoulder, XYZ. I was getting none of that from Shaira. I was like, I was like, maybe this is not going to work out. And she was my first pick.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
She was my first pick.
He really wanted that to work.
I really wanted it to
Trust
work.
me. So the next morning, we were all at breakfast. All right, Hassan, we were staying at New Star, which is in Cebu City. It's a very nice resort. It's kind of like in the middle of town. They do have the Mactan Peninsula, which has some beautiful resorts, but it's kind of out of the way, so it's hard to get around. So the first time I had stayed in Mactan, at these but just to get into town, it was like a half-hour, 40-minute drive, So it's so this time I told Kyle, Kyle, we got to book something that's a little more central or whatever, and it was excellent. It was excellent. So we're at the breakfast buffet anyway, and I'm like, Luis went to go get his food, and Shaira is sitting there. It was just me and her. And I had maybe 5 to 10 minutes to just kind of talk to her. And I was like, look, I told her, I was like, look, and she doesn't know any of this, but Luis had already told me, what's going on and everything. I said, look, Shaira, you're a very nice girl. You're perfect. Everything, you're exactly what he needs, whatever. But I need you to come out of your shell, okay? This is your chance to shine, sweetheart. And I didn't want to be like, oh, you're in a competition or anything like that. I didn't want to say hey, you need to do X, Y, Z, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I go to Shaira, I go, sweetheart, this is your time to shine. You got to really be attentive to him. You got to grab his hand, do this, do that. He likes those sort of things, be yourself, shine. If you really want this guy, you really got to go after him and get him, okay? And I didn't want to be like, oh, you're in a competition, this, that. He'll just tell you it's not working out, go to the next woman, whatever, because she was a very nice person. She was a good girl. And I did think she was a very good match for Luis when I met her. So anyway, I guess that pep talk really worked, because the next day, Luis comes back in the morning and says, we're a go. Everything looks good. I really love this girl. I was like, what the hell happened in 24 hours, Luis?
Yeah. So the thing with that is after your pep talk. So I'm trying to piece together the timeline here. After your pep talk, I think that's when we all disembarked from that buffet breakfast, and I brought her up to the hotel room because we were about to go to the mall or something. I don't know. And I said, listen, Shaira, I don't think this is gonna work. I was like, you're very avoidant. You're not you don't express any interest and stuff like that. I'm sorry. I don't think this is good for me or anything. And then she was like, you saw worry in her eyes and stuff like that. And she's like, no, please, please, please. And she didn't know how to like communicate.
Right.
Now, like, listen, one of my pitfalls for myself is that I'm a very expressive and communicative person, right? I communicate a lot. And I know the things to say based on how I'm feeling it. And some people can't articulate as well as I can. So for her, and for many other people too, they, when they're flustered or they're worried or whatever, they can't set their emotions aside to convey or illustrate what they're actually feeling, right? And so what I saw from her was just worry, fear, like kind of just like, oh my God, I blew it type of thing.
Yeah.
And,
sure.
And I go to myself, I was like, I really want this to work, but I don't think it is. And she goes, please, please.
Louis, she wanted you. She wanted you bad. She did. I could see that.
Needless to say, we worked it out.
Good.
And, and we joke about it every now and again. And she's like, if I wouldn't have begged you, then you wouldn't have given me a chance. I was like, no. I was like, your begging is irrelevant. My decisions were going to be my decisions, period. Sure. That's it. Like, I don't care if you beg or you didn't beg. Like, it was going to be my decision, period. No influence from here.
Well, the good news is everything worked out. They were both very happy.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, damn. Yeah. Like, I thought this was the girl that worked out.
So everything worked out. So the next day, what I did was I said, come on, guys. I want to take you all out to dinner. So we went to dinner. It was so nice, everything. Luis went to the family's house. He saw everyone. It was wonderful. Everything was like...
Bought the kids toys.
Exactly. And that's all she wrote.
My children.
Like, after that. It was like... they just went on like a honeymoon after that.
So for podcast sake, she's good.
She's good.
She's good.
So this is the one.
This is the one. Woo! And then after that, if you see the picture, you can see both of them smiling ear to ear, like in the hotel. I sent you that picture. They're both like grinning. Like the grin was super, like, they couldn't even close their mouth.
So how often do you guys talk? You talk every day?
Talk every day.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Yeah. She's attentive. She's responsive.
Yeah, she's attentive, responsive, respectful. There were a couple situations where we got into, like, I wouldn't say arguments, but it could have spiraled into
could have went there, right?
Yeah, it could have went there. But
which is normal. I mean, come on, that's part of a relationship.
Yeah, disagreements are normal, but like she had like, again, she had a way of acting where it's just like, all right. So one day we went to Siquijor, by the way, which is a beautiful island.
Right.
Honestly, you could make a honeymoon out of that island.
Sure.
It was really beautiful.
A lot of beautiful islands in the Philippines.
So we were at the resort, and I don't know what happened. I forgot. It was such a stupid thing that I just forgot. But all of a sudden, I saw her, like, on the resort bed, like she placed a pillow to separate both of us. I'm like, what are you doing? And she goes to me, you're mad at me. I was like, I'm not mad at you. I was like, are you mad at me? She goes, a little bit. I was like, so then why's the pillow there? And she goes to me, well, because maybe you don't want to, you don't want to be with me or whatever. I was like, I took that fucking pillow and threw it on the floor. And I told her, I was like, listen, I'm not reliving what my parents did with me. I was like, sure, I'm not doing that. Because when I was little, I used to see my mom and dad have a divider in the bed, and that being the pillow. And I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. I was like, you talk to me. If you ask questions, if you have a problem with me, address them. All right? I'm not going to sleep on a sour note. Fix it.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to go to sleep angry.
Yeah, you're not going to go to sleep angry. Fix it. That's it. I was like, if you need a couple minutes for yourself, fine, but I want to talk about it. That's it.
Yeah, that's important.
And then there was another situation where she was tossing and turning, and she, like, took her hand and smacked my fucking face and woke me up from a deep slumber. Right. I was like, what's going on? And she goes, I can't sleep. I was like, what are you doing? And I got a little irked at her. And then, I don't know, I went to take a piss, came back. She wasn't there. She was actually on the couch in the foyer, sleeping there. I was like, Shaira, we're not doing this. Please, we're not doing this. I was like, I'm not mad at you. I just want to cuddle with you. Everything's okay.
Good.
But listen, if it were an American woman, they would fucking drag that shit out.
Right.
they would really drag it out. They would want you to beg and grovel until you're in the wrong. Like you are in the wrong. Like you had no valid expression to act the way or behave the way you were or whatever. And for me, it's just like she was respectful, and then, you know, she made a joke. She's like, "Oh, you're strict." I was like, "No, I'm not strict. It's just like I'm an older man. I'm 40 years old almost. Like I'm not
Right.
Not
dealing
40 or 36.
whatever.
I
But
get 4 years away. You're
yeah,
right.
but I'm not
plenty of
dealing with that shit, man.
So
Can't
the,
deal with
the
it.
main thing though has that came out. I was so happy. I was looking at them ear to ear and this and that. Then Luis and I go, listen, man, we got, and I'm seeing it from start to finish, from a freaking basement to seeing him like basically get engaged, and now they're planning the wedding next year, which we'll all attend. Woo!
All right, we'll be out there.
We out there. So after seeing that, I said, Luis, we gotta turn this into like a business or something. There's a lot of men
Really?
who need this. Like there's men who, and I was like, look, this is like a very niche business idea. And Luis came up with the name Brides for Bros. I love it. I love
Guys
it.
are bros.
Got the logo, got everything. I said, you know, you could really hit two niche categories of men here in America. One is like that divorced man who's like 40 plus, you know, whatever. He's not going on the apps and whatever. He wants to, you know, whatever. He wants to just find something that's serious. And this is also different from Passport Boy or Passport Bro or whatever, because those are basically like a glorified prostitution service. Let's
Yeah.
be real, right? Whereas like this is, you know, for real women, marriage, children, you know, something long term, whatever. And we're giving like real. This is not like we're just trying to hook you up and get you laid and this and that or whatever, right? I mean that comes with it, but that's not our purpose. The other group I would say is there's a lot of men who are like 35 and older who just never got married. They don't have children. They don't have nothing. Maybe they just didn't, like in Luis's case, they never found the right woman. They didn't, whatever. Maybe they're even a little bit socially awkward, a little socially inept. Maybe they're not good at talking to women, whatever it is. For them too, they can't be on these apps and everything. I said we should really help these men out too. And look, I think it's a beautiful thing because people need love and people need that like relationship the way they need food, air, water, whatever. So I think this could really be something. So I was like, you know what? Let's just give it a try.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Announcing Passport
So are we announcing the new venture, Passport Bros? That's what we're doing?
Yeah, but we're gonna call it Brides for Bros.
That's it.
This is the level up. This is a step higher.
Yeah.
It's a very high end service. It's discreet.
Start to finish. And I think Luis put it best. He told me, he said, Mo, it's kind of like half analog and half digital. Like you take some of the new technology, but you also have that analog like how it was in the past, so that it's very like, you know, it's very human, and that's what makes it work.
Yeah,
you know?
it's not so commoditized. And the issue here, and the great thing about it is that, you know, we can use representatives from the concierge to really limit the choices that a man and or woman receives on this service. So the thing is like, you know, whereas you're scrolling Tinder or Hinge or whatever stupid dating app that is, you're inundated with a bunch of matches, right? It's very hard to probe and to get to know other people like of those enormous matches. Instead you have concierge that like handpicks them, right? Filters out based on your preferences,
right.
And then they're like,
They
okay,
get you the numbers so you
we
can
get
start
the
the
number.
conversation.
You start the conversation, and you work on building those things, right? We
Help you talk to them
we-
along the way.
We initially start you off with 3, but upon your discretion or asking, you can ask for more matches, right? You won't be obtaining the phone numbers. Concierge will. All concierge is doing is doing most of the heavy lifting, and you just need to talk. Prove that you're real, that you're a gentleman or gentlewoman, whatever, and just play nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
And once you get over to the Philippines, and I think, you know, after seeing your experience, you basically said, look, Mo, start to finish 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
once you start a man on this in 4 weeks, he's got to be in the Philippines, or else you're going to lose the interest and everything. And I think once you're over there too, look, we have it made. We have all the bookings. We have the date set up. You have it nice restaurants, all booked out. You have the driver, you have the hotel, you have everything. Literally, the guy just has to show up.
Yeah.
And like everything is taken care of, so there's nothing to worry about.
Mm-hmm. So it's also the men that are being accepted into the service, they're vetted extensively.
Oh yeah.
Extensively.
Yeah. Look, if let's say someone wants to actually do this service, look, they have to sign some legal paperwork. Obviously, you have to do a criminal background check, make sure they're not some like rapist or molester or something. You got to make sure
income statements.
Yeah, you got to also do their blood and urine, make sure they're clean. Because this is like real women, good women. You
psych eval,
right? Psych eval. There's a lot to it, which we're all providing, and I think it's a really good thing.
And I think it'll weed out the people that's playing.
Oh yeah.
And it'll weed out the people that just want to go have the prostitution.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Sexcapades. This is not for you. If you just want to do this, is not for you.
No.
Yeah.
This is for people that want to be serious.
Yeah.
That want to get married.
Yeah.
They want to have long-lasting relationships.
Yeah.
This is good.
They want a life. They want a life. They want a wife. They want all these
Brides
things.
for bros, man.
Brides for bros.
That's for bros.
B for B.
B for B.
Where can people find this information? Like, when is it going to blast this out?
So Haz and I were talking about this too. We will start a social media campaign for it. Then we'll have an email, we'll have a number, we'll do all this, and we'll get it going. Right now we're working on we're getting the legal releases, we're getting all the other things that are in play. Pretty much we ran it through once, so I think it's very easy now for us to replicate. And we went through the pearls and pitfalls, and we know where we've got to improve, where we don't, and certain things didn't work. We're not going to do that. The only things that work, that's what we're going to stick with.
And I think when people see this pod and they hear your experience, that's going to draw them in, because you're going to speak to a certain demographic of men who are serious.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, wow, he did it. Because they're going to be, I saw his first pod in, having hard times on the dating apps. And now he's taking the steps and did the work. So this is going to be exciting, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm very happy. I love my girlfriend right now. People say, oh, well, it's too early in the game. When you know.
Haters, don't pay no mind.
When you know. Honestly.
Yeah, haters. It's nothing but haters. You're nothing but haters.
Right. Yeah.
All right, man. This is good, man. So check it out. Bride for Bros. Information is coming soon. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Gmail. Everything is coming. Check out for the pod. It's going to be great. And I can't wait, brother.
Stay blessed. Stay great.
You already know.